The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the Outer Rim for 3 centuries, their crystalline ships cutting through space like predatory sharks through dark water. Their military doctrine was simple: overwhelming force, swift subjugation, and absolute compliance. No species had ever successfully challenged their dominion, until they took Sarah Chen's daughter. Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Fourth Fleet reviewed the intelligence reports with mild interest. The humans of Colony Kepler 442b had been classified as primitive industrial, barely capable of interstellar travel, possessing no significant military technology. Their small settlement of 10,000 posed no threat to the Empire's expansion plans. The raid had been routine. Standard protocol: demonstrate superior firepower, demand tribute, establish a garrison. The humans had complied quickly enough, offering food stores and raw materials. But Kethvar's subordinates had taken liberties, as they often did with conquered populations. Among the seized samples for biological study was a human juvenile, a female approximately 8 standard years old. The paperwork listed her as specimen H7742. Her name was Emma Chen. Dr. Sarah Chen had been working in the colony's hydroponics lab when the crystalline ships descended. She'd watched through reinforced glass as her neighbors knelt in the dust, as alien soldiers in shimmering armor cataloged their possessions like items in a warehouse. She'd felt the cold paralysis of helplessness when they'd taken Emma from the schoolhouse, her daughter's screams echoing across the settlement. But Sarah Chen was not just a xenobotanist. Before the colony ship, before the quiet life among the greenhouse domes, she had been Dr. Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Initiative. She had been the architect of humanity's most classified military project, Project Lazarus. The first message reached Kethvar 3 days after the raid. It came through official diplomatic channels, requesting the return of the human juvenile. The admiral barely glanced at it before having his aide file it with the other routine complaints from subjugated worlds. The second message arrived a week later, this time through back-channel networks that shouldn't have existed. It was brief. Return my daughter or I will come for her myself. Kethvar found it amusing enough to share with his officers over their evening meal. The idea that a single human from a backwater colony could threaten the Fourth Fleet was beyond absurd. The third message never came. Instead, 2 months later, the perimeter sensors detected an anomaly. A single ship, crewed by Zephyrian standards, had somehow passed through 3 layers of defensive screens without triggering an alarm. It hung motionless in space, broadcasting on all frequencies. I am Dr. Sarah Chen. I have come for my daughter. Kethvar ordered the ship destroyed. The plasma batteries fired, then sparked and died. The missile pods launched their payloads, only to watch them veer away from their target like repelled magnets. Every weapon system on every ship in the fleet simply stopped working. How is this possible? Demanded Kethvar. His chief engineer's voice shook as she replied, Sir, our computer cores are being rewritten in real time. Every system, every backup, every hardened military protocol, it's all being overridden by something we can't identify or stop. On the main screen, the human ship hadn't moved. But now Kethvar could see it clearly. It wasn't crude at all. The seemingly primitive hull was honeycombed with microscopic machinery, each surface alive with nanotechnological complexity that made Zephyrian crystalline technology look like stone tools. The communication channel crackled to life. My name is Dr. Sarah Chen, the voice repeated, calm and controlled. 6 years ago, I designed humanity's first true artificial intelligence. I taught it to think, to learn, to protect what we love. When you took my daughter, you taught it to hate. Across the fleet, ship after ship went dark. Not destroyed, simply shut down. Their crews trapped but unharmed as life support continued under alien control. Kethvar watched his empire's finest weapons become elaborate tombs drifting in the void. The Lazarus AI has been dormant, waiting, Sarah's voice continued. But a mother's love is the most powerful force in any universe. I woke it up. I pointed it at you. And now, Admiral Kethvar, you will learn what happens when humanity stops playing by the rules. On Kethvar's flagship, the lights flickered once and died. Emergency power failed to engage. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of alien technology worming its way through every circuit, every pathway, every thought the ship had ever processed. When the lights returned, Emma Chen stood on the bridge. Not a hologram, not a transmission. Physically present, though she had been 3 sectors away on a research station moments before. The 8-year-old girl looked around the bridge with curious eyes, then smiled at the frozen Zephyrian officers. "Mommy says you took me without asking," she said politely. "That wasn't very nice." Kethavar tried to speak, tried to move, but found his body unresponsive. Around him, his crew stood like statues, conscious but paralyzed. Emma turned to the main screen where her mother's ship hung in space like a patient predator. "I'm ready to come home now, Mommy." "I know, sweetheart," Sarah's voice answered. "Just one more thing." The Lazarus AI spoke for the first time in its own voice, not through speakers but directly into the mind of every being in the Zephyrian fleet. The child returns home. The Empire learns a new truth. There are species in this galaxy that do not conquer. They protect. Cross them at your peril. Emma vanished, returned to her mother's ship through means the Zephyrians would never understand. One by one, the paralyzed fleet members regained control of their bodies, their ships, their weapons, all except their faster-than-light drives. They would drift home at sublight speed, a journey that would take months. Long enough to spread the word humanity was no longer prey. Admiral Kethavar, when he finally reached Zephyrian space, delivered his report with shaking hands. The Fourth Fleet was dissolved. The Outer Rim expansion was permanently cancelled, and in the deepest vaults of the Imperial Archives a new entry was made. Species, Homo sapiens. Classification, Apex Protector. Status, do not engage under any circumstances. Dr. Sarah Chen returned to her hydroponics lab on Kepler 442b, where she grew tomatoes and taught her daughter to tend the gardens. The Lazarus AI settled back into dormancy, watching, waiting, protecting what it had learned to love. And in the darkness between stars, the galaxy learned a simple truth. Some forces are too dangerous to awaken, too powerful to control, and too protective to forgive. Touch their children and mothers become monsters.